Hello and welcome to A Player's Guide to Role-Playing. And today it's all about getting into character. Um, Last time I talked about um, how to basically do stuff, getting into the rules, how to be creative with what you will roll to achieve your thing you want to do. Be creative with your stats, how to get conversations going, pretty basic stuff. And today we'll be getting into what makes your character tick. So not just how can you do the actions you're doing more interestingly, but what is your character about? What are they doing in certain situations, and how can you determine that? Just a moment. Cave sounds are a bit in the foreground, so yeah, there we go. Um, so yeah, what makes your character tick? Um, well, let's have a look. Um, I made this adventure sort of what this party is on now as an introduction adventure for first timers and starting characters. So far, the in part that was last couple of videos is about getting to know the game system. You know, where are all the buttons, what are all the stats, what I use in combat, what I use to do this. Um, Not specifically for Warhammer, it can be used in any system, but it's basically that little scene is used to get to know the mechanics of the system you're playing. And this next chapter or scene is used, is intended for the characters, for the players to get to know their character, to expand on their character, to uh, get to know how they react in certain situation, or not maybe not get to know, but determine how they react in certain situations. And then when they finish this part, they will be quite comfortable in the skin of their character, and then they will be set loose on the world, and they can sandbox away. So it's still pretty railroady, but it's intended that way just to give the players somewhat of a comfortable environment. Um, yeah, let's see what happened last time. Um, when you do player notes on paper, it's you can do it in a ledger or in a book or in a dummy or just loose pieces of paper or however you want it. But if you're doing it digitally, you'll get something where you can scroll, and usually you scroll down and the text goes up, and then it's easier to do it like this with the first sessions or the older sessions at the bottom. That way, when you open your notes, it opens at the top always, and you'll always get the most recent information at the top. So that's a tip for keeping notes. Um, Session 1, they were in the inn. Last session, the village was attacked by beastmen. The soldiers defended the settlement. The war priest did battle with an enormous monstrosity and smote it with the light of Sigmar, but ultimately the defenders were overwhelmed. Willie was ordered to run, and one of the locals turned to Bork, who hesitantly shared the location of a cave that might provide safety. We made a run for it, being chased by something big. We just made it into the cave when the entrance collapsed, keeping the beastmen out, but entrapped us within. So that's where the part here now. And just as a note, this is all with lighting, dynamic lighting and stuff, and these two people are carrying torches. So this is a situation where the players are really starting to actually roleplay and determine what their characters are about. How do you start? How do you start to determine what your character is about. Building a character. Well, first thing is to ask yourself what type of character you are going to be. Are you going to be a stereotype, archetype, something that exists that we know? Are you going to use a pre-generated character that comes with the scenario or the adventure, or that the GM has already prepared for you? Or are you going to go with a custom character, something random or generated by yourself? And usually it'll be a combination of these things, because people tend to fall back to the stereotype archetype, because they are archetypes and stereotypes for a reason. Imagine the Slayer, or if you're talking about Warhammer, or the the rogue and the wizard. Those are all, if you say I'm a wizard, pretty many people pretty much know what kind of type of character you are. Or the paladin, those are pretty pretty founded character types. Um, but it's fun to do a custom character, even if your class is something, like a wizard or a paladin or something. It doesn't mean your character has to be exactly that. And a fun thing to start with is, yeah, just look into the archetypes. Um, the psychologist Jung has determined 12 um, character archetypes that he recognized in stories and myth, and they're pretty useful. They're still being used a lot by people who create stories, certainly used a lot by people who play role-playing games, and they're pretty useful. They're not set in stone. There are other ways to look at it, but this is certainly a very decent way to look at it. There are basically in this system, in this way of looking at it, 12 archetypes, which you can see here with their strengths and weaknesses, their characteristics, their challenges. And yeah, you can pick a combination of these, or pick just one, see what interests you, or what challenges you maybe, and or maybe what suits with your character, what you already had in mind a bit, and then build from there. This is like, I like to call it a coat rack, on which you hang the skin of your character, where you the foundation that you build upon, or a framework to start from. It doesn't mean that this is, if you choose a gesture, that this is it. It's just a starting point. Of course, you can play it completely full gesture, completely archetype, like this. It's fun, but it lacks a bit of your own personal input then. So yeah, that's a nice way to go. Um, you have um, already generated backstory. At least we did with Groger. So let's bring it up. Where's the biography? And yeah, the first thing to do, if you have not already done it, is determine a motivation in life. I think that was... Where did I put that? Motivation should be somewhere here. Oh, motivation, fame. Um, if you have not done it, uh, determine a motivation. What drives the character? So in this case, Groger is when he wants to be an actor. So fame. Another thing is short-term goal. Get paid as an actor. The cool thing about Warhammer, I think, is that it already has that things. But even in other systems, these are very good things to determine for your character. And long-term goals. Where does he or she want to end up later in life? We've already done this, and um, that gives us a little bit more than just the archetype. It's if we use this and overlay it on one of the archetypes, um, or not, or we can just go full custom. It's your choice. But you build on your character. Let's see if there's something we can combine this with. Of course, there's the jester, because basically he is an actor, and this is like the same profession, but it certainly does not have to be. Um, he can be any one of these. So let's see um, if there's anything in the characteristics that speaks to us. Strength, courage, stamina. Let's take a look at what he's good at. He's tough and he's quick and he's charming. There's a lot of skills here, but these are more general and more um, system agnostic than these things, so I'll use these for now. Wisdom, intelligence, rational decision making, not really. Openness to experience, trust and honesty. This, he could be the innocent. Belonging to a group, he is with a group of fellow. He was with a group of fellow thespians, so to speak. So it could be. Loyalty, empathy. This is a bit bland. Well, delusions of grandeur, sure. Fame. Fairness, no, he's not really a stand-up citizen. Leadership, risk-taking, not really. Well, this of course. Independence, yes, because he didn't want to go into his family business. Testing limit, non-conformity, sure. Non-conformity again, imagination, sense of aesthetics. Well, this could be logically. Surprise, powers of perception, cleverness, intuition. Maybe the creator. Over dramatization and perfectionism. Yeah, he's the that's maybe a cool one. That's already in here. So it's just a help, a thing that will help you get along. Um, what do these stats actually say about your character? Is he smart or dumb, sociable, reclusive, a leader or a follower? A lot of um, role-playing systems have built into the character creation a set of questions. There are numerous role-playing tools out there that also provide questions, a list of questions varying from 10 questions to 15 questions, 20 questions, 100 questions. There's certainly a way to start. For instance, how do you think about nobility? What's your religion? Your political outlook on life? How do you feel about dot dot dot? You know, that kind of things. My experience is that it's best to certainly in the beginning um, not to over specify things because you're learning this character and it's easier to just tackle the situations as they come, because in the beginning you have a lot of time to talk about these things, discuss them and think about them, and later in the game you will feel more comfortable about them and things will follow up naturally. So just tackle the situations as they come and then decide, okay, I'm getting in contact, I'm dealing with a noble here, so how does my character actually feel about nobles? And just determine it on the spot and make a note of it. Because if you're doing this 100 questions, well, first of all, it's a lot of questions. You're not going to remember it all. And not everything in those questions is going to apply to every situation. You'll be constantly flapping through your notes to see, is this something I've answered in one of the questions, or so, and it distracts from the actual role playing. Role playing is largely about improvisation, and so improvise. Um, and once you've encountered the situation multiple times, um, you get a feel for how that person you're playing reacts. And um, you'll notice that you will not forget how you reacted the last time. Because you improvised, it's also sort of natural. You didn't look it up how to do something, and it will you will react the same way the next time, sort of automatically. Whereas you will look up, if you want to look up, well, how does my character react to this particular situation, and then make a note of it, it will feel lifeless or wooden or mechanical and not natural. So forget all those questions, go by the stats. When the situation occurs, decide, okay, what's going on here? What is my character about? How does the character react to this situation? Decide on a way, and then go with it full gusto. um, so let's put to practice that for a bit. Our fellows have just been chased by a huge monstrosity. They're exhausted. They've got some locals with them. They've got Willy, who seems to be some type of important dude. They've got this Bork, who seems, the longer as they been around him, he seemed more sketchy, and he was reluctant to take them here. And they're in a wet, dark cave. Um, it's closed in. Maybe it's a little bit claustrophobic. It's dirty. It's dark. It's cold. How do our characters react? Well, we've got 4 of them. Groger is our main protagonist for now, and we've got the other party members: Celicia, Enderlin, and Mole. Mole is a whatchamacallit, courtier. He's a warden, so he's accustomed to luxury. So he will probably stand somewhere in the middle of the chamber, looking disgustedly at the dirty floor, the dirty beddings here, uh, complaining about the cold, uh, not trying not to get his clothes dirty, his shoes dirty, just probably complaining about the entire situation and that it is not becoming his stature and his status, and things like that. Endelin is a sailor, a seaman. Um, he's had way worse experiences than this. At least he has a roof over his head. He's dry, but he's used to the open sea, so maybe he's a little bit claustrophobic. Who knows? And he will probably like to stay close to the others. He's got a torch. He's one of the persons to grab a torch, because here in the boxes there were some torches or lanterns or something emitting lights to use. Um, yeah, and then there's Celicia. She is the protagonist, a warrior class, probably uh, rising to the occasion. She is maybe pumped up by adrenaline because she wants to fight. She did not want to run. She wanted to stay and fight. So she's looking. She's a person of action. She immediately wants to go forward. Probably she's probably exploring. Um, And also maybe because she's a bit pumped up, she's also, you know, investigating, you know, pressing this guy. You know, what is this place about? Why did you bring us here? And why is all this stuff here? This is not your stuff because there's all kinds of loot here. And they discover that this guy is sort of a con man, posing as a guide and then uh, leaving his the people he's guiding stranded and taking off with their stuff into these caves. Um, yeah, this guy comes forth saying he's got an important mission. It is imperative that he get to Grunberg as fast as possible, and he cannot disclose what further details. But if they will help him, there's gold in it for him. So he's basically the quest giver at this point. There's Grover. He's our um, thespian entertainer. So he'll probably comment on the fact that they're still alive. He's a positive fellow, probably. He started out on an adventure, so he's not phased by being in a cave. He will probably make light of the situation somehow, crack a joke, say something witty. He's got the torch or lantern. Uh, if you want to know more about torches and lanterns and what people actually used in those medieval-like times, Shadiverse had a fantastic video about it. Um, yeah, so maybe he doesn't have a torch and she has a torch, so it doesn't really matter now. He just wants to, yeah, he has the torch. He wants to assist and make the best of the situation. So, where are we going? Oh, look at this cave. Maybe there's some drawings here, and you know, stuff like that. But eventually, um, this guy turns to be fraud, and he somewhat he is not unfazed by the situation. He is shook, and he is broken, and mumbling to himself. Um, so yeah, he's not all there. And of course, the locals cling together and look up to the party to, you know, what do we do now? And eventually, I think Celicia will, um, maybe along with Endelin. No, we determined that he's a little bit claustrophobic, so he will stay here in the what somewhat larger um, room, and he'll say something like, "I'll take care of the locals," and this guy is not moving at all. It's not. He wants to keep his feet clean, so Groger and Celicia, they will explore together. You know, they will say something like, "Wait here." That's probably what they'll do. So the actions are determined by the character of the characters. And the character of the characters is, of course, determined not just by um, the players, but try to go by the stats as much as possible, your background as much as possible. Also, of course, the thing you are, the career. Um, let's say um, if we go by this, he will. He's not really strong. Yeah, he's definitely the light of the party, trying to. He's the person in charge of morale. So that is this situation. Now, another situation occurs. They are exploring, and I designed this to not be that long of an exploration in the first part. And they encounter a, there we go, a door. And this door should be... Oh, I forgot to put the door in. Well, let's just quickly put the door in. Oh, there we go. A door! And the door is locked. Locked. And just reset. Yep. There's the door. There we go. I created this door without a key. No key somewhere um, in the cave before them. The only way to get past this door is to break it down, and that requires to roll some dice. Now, this is a very common thing, and players will often say, what is the point in rolling a dice if I have unlimited time to break down a door? Indeed, mechanically speaking, there is no point. I mean, if you got unlimited rolls, you can roll 20 times and eventually you will roll high enough to break down this door. There could be a timer of sorts, you know, to see how fast you break down a door because there's something creeping up, there's water rising, or there's some other danger. But also a lot of times there seems to be no point in rolling and breaking down this door. And this is designed as such, but there is a point because this also is a situation where you determine how does my character react? How do we go by? How do they approach this problem? How do they react to a difficulty? Um, a bear on the road, so to speak. And it's not about how quickly you break the door down or how many rolls it takes or rolling at all. It's about what approach do you take. Do you immediately start to break down the door? Do you uh, confer with your fellow characters over there? Do you go back to the rest of the party and try to come up with a plan? Do you start to search for a key? Do you start to search for secret doors? Do you start to look for a different way out? That's what this door is about. So, that in mind, the GM has explained to us that this is a strong door, and maybe they even said, well, you have to roll. I don't know. You have to roll. They give us a target to roll. If you want to, because we said the door doesn't budge. Can we break it down? That's usually the first thing you ask, or one of the first things. Is there a key? No. Can we break it down? Well, you have to roll this. Groger is, of course, quick to make a joke about this. Something about a cave and a back door or something. Or, I don't know. I'm not as quick with it as he is. We'll get to that later. So, yeah, what does he do? He probably cracks a joke. Celicia, she is a woman of action. So, she'll probably assess the situation pretty quickly, determine that this is just an obstacle to overcome, and she'll probably just start hacking at the door without even considering other options. It then might be up to Groger to say, well, wait, you know, he's a sociable fellow, just so maybe he said, you know, you do that, I go back to the others, I'll get them, or and then yeah, let's do that. So you take care of the door, just hack away, and I will get the others. And he will go here for here and then call, oh guys, come over here. And then it's up to these persons to react. For the sake of argument, let's say only the party members go here. So how will these people react to a door? Endelin will probably react the same as Cilicia, so he will probably assist. But this dude is more sophisticated, so he will probably say, can we pick the lock? Is this somebody with lock-picking skills? Can we just lift the door out of the hinges? Because he's not about destruction, he's more about, he's a warden. So, he's not about destroying a door. I mean, the door is expensive. Or is there another way out? So this is more maybe the brains, or not really necessarily the brains, but the planner of the party. You probably may take more of an analytical approach. So 4 people, 4 different, well, somewhat different approaches, and eventually they crack open the door, and then another obstacle or situation presents itself. How do you get all these people to, well, what do you do with them? Do you take them along? Do you say, wait here? Maybe they have questions for you. This dude certainly wants to go with you because he basically gave you the quest to take him to Grunberg, and this dude is a liability. So how do you handle this party? How do you keep them safe? How do you keep an eye on them? Do you keep an eye on them? Let's go by our party members again. This dude, he's high status. He thinks these are beneath him. He maybe only cares for himself. He's interested in this dude because this dude means money. And he does not care about these persons because he's already decided this one is a crook and these are just peasants. And they're not worth his time. So he'll probably keep close to Willy. Groger, of course, is our sociable dude. Gets the spirits up for everyone and says, people, we find a way out. Yay, let's go. Come on, stay close to me. We'll take care of you. Don't worry. And hey, Mr. Psycho, relax. Take it easy. You'll try to diffuse the situation. Keep morale up. That's probably what he'll do. Just going by their role, their stats. Let's see what Enderlin has for. Maybe he's got some talents. Well, look at this. He's got 6 sense, and he's very strong. Anything else? I don't want to look too much in his skills because they're too specific for this system. I want to keep it as analog as possible. He's quite agile, so maybe he's is rummaging through the boxes and here to see if he's got can find any tools to take with him. Maybe he's wrapping up the beddings to take with him. He's strong, so he's the mule. And he says, "Don't worry, I'll know when there's danger coming." So he's also a motivator, and he says, "You know what? You go in front of me, and I'll take the back." He's probably, the last person in the little caravan. And then there's so basically these two have already decided between themselves that they're going to bring the entire group with them. He has decided that he doesn't care about these people. The GM has to decide where Willy stands. Usually in this case, they'll go with majority. That's what I would do anyway. And then there's Cilicia. She is the leader. Her leadership's pretty high. Well, not pretty high, but higher than the others. And she's smart. Okay. And she's smart and confident. Talents. Yeah, so She's smart. She knows she can handle the situation. There's a way out. Somebody made a door there, so there's probably it leads somewhere. So, and it's smart to stay together. We know that there's no exit there, so why stay here? Take all the stuff we can get and let's move. So she will also probably say that these people should go as well. Already the characters are starting to emerge based on the situation we're in and based on the decisions they're making. Even though Celicia does not have the highest leadership, because we'll look at 34, and this dude probably has the highest leadership. Nope, 33. Leadership 35. And they're pretty much all the same. Oh no, Groger has the highest leadership. But he's busy with these people and he's not really interested in leading. He's more interested in keeping morale up and keeping the group together. So because he's not really a decision maker, she is probably the decision maker. That's just what I read from this situation. Of course, knowing now that Groger has an enormous high leadership, because it's based on fellowship, we could roleplay him as a very decisive. But is he decisive? He is average intelligence. Well, you could decide for yourself if he's a decisive person and takes the reins or not. Maybe it could be fun if you play him like the jester, you know, the archetype. If you play him like the jester, he would be let's go this way, which is obviously the wrong way, but he would say it really confidently. You know, sort of make him like the comic relief guy. Um, but we decided on the creator, and the creator is not really a leader type. It's more a connecting type. We could have played him as the hero, and then with the delusions of grandeur. Yeah, then we could have been the leader. I'm deciding we'll go this way. So that's options. But I think this situation naturally brought out that this lady is the leader. He is the reluctant follower, sort of independent right now. Um, and yeah, he's a good follower. He's the strong man, and he's the light of the party. So there you go. The characters are starting to emerge. Now, this so far I've brought it all pretty dry in a somewhat narrative way, and of course a lot of the fun of role playing is actually bringing these characters to life with a voice and a colloquium and all kinds of stuff, and really sort of acting them out. That's what most people think about when they roleplay. You don't have to. I mean, it's up to you, but it's certainly a lot of fun to do it. And that's what next video is about, how to bring your character to life. So I hope this was of use. I hope it wasn't too incoherent and too much rambling. And I hope you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe and share and all that stuff. And I'll catch you next time.